Greetings, Grand Adventurers, and welcome back. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and we are continuing our grand adventure down the Natchez Trace Parkway. So stay tuned. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by eTrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Use the link down below in the video description to shop eTrailer with Grand Adventure. We're continuing our southbound journey down all 444 miles of the Natchez Trace this morning, re-entering the parkway here, just north of the Tennessee-Alabama state line. The Natchez Trace Parkway is a linear unit of the National Park Service that follows the historic Natchez Trace, a forest trail linking the Cumberland, Tennessee, and Mississippi rivers pioneered by the Choctaw and Chickasaw natives, and later adopted by white settlers and military troops, that saw its utilization peak from the late 1700s to the early 1800s. Last week's episode 385 focused on the northern part of the Trace, from near Nashville down to the Alabama border. We're focusing our travel today on the Trace's middle section, through Alabama and into northern Mississippi as far as Tupelo. The Trace is a wonderfully relaxing route to travel. This two-lane road sees barely any traffic, at least during our October visit. There are no traffic lights or stop signs along its entire length. Except at either end, the speed limit is a steady 50 miles per hour. And the curves are very gradual, allowing one to sit back and set the cruise control even while towing. And there are numerous historical and natural sites, with plenty of RV parking at which to stop, learn, and stretch your legs, like here at Rock Spring. Located at milepost 330, a short hike leads you across Colbert Creek, where beavers have dammed the crystal clear water flowing from a natural spring beneath the earth, for an excellent primer into the beauty that fills these forests in the far northwestern corner of Alabama. Small fish dart about in the deep pools created as the stream wanders through the rich bottomland soil and limestone rock. We've found Rock Spring, which percolates from beneath the ground here year-round, with an average temperature of 59 degrees. The Natchez Trace Parkway crosses the Tennessee River via the nearly mile-long John Coffey Memorial Bridge, the longest bridge on the parkway. The bridge is named for General John Coffee, who fought the Creek War of 1813-14. In the days of the old trace, George Colbert operated a stand here, one of the many inns that provided travelers on the trace with food and lodging. With a Scottish father and Chickasaw mother, Colbert used his bilingual abilities and knowledge of both cultures to build a network of enterprises, including a ferry to carry travelers across the river from 1800 to 1819. He once charged Andrew Jackson $75,000 to ferry his Tennessee Army across the river, the equivalent of over $2 million in today's dollars. The Freedom Hills Overlook provides another great opportunity to stretch at milepost 317, where a short paved trail leads through dogwood trees to a rare overlook of the surrounding countryside. About 900 years ago, mound building began along Bear Creek, near Parkway milepost 309, adjacent to the Alabama-Mississippi state line, where people in dugout canoes could travel hundreds of miles in search of ample fish and plant life. This site was used by prehistoric groups for thousands of years. The village site was occupied as early as 8000 BC, and from the time of Christ to 1000 AD, migratory people of this area practiced limited agriculture here. These people shaped this mound between the years 1400 and 1600 AD, and typical of a Mississippian period village, a ceremonial building sat on Bear Creek's flat top, providing a focus for spiritual life. Now that we've made it into northern Mississippi, we're now getting closer to Gator Country. Around milepost 293, the trace crosses the Tennessee-Tombigbee Waterway, better known as the Ten-Tom. It's a man-made canal that, after 200 years of consideration, was finally started in 1972 and completed in 1985 to create a navigable 234-mile route for shallow draft boats and barges, directly from the Tennessee River to the Gulf of Mexico at Mobile, Alabama. It's the largest land-moving project in the United States. We'll be right back with more from the Natchez Trace Parkway following a brief message from our valued video sponsor, eTrailer. Whether you need products for your RV, boat, trailer, vehicle, hunting and fishing, off-roading, and more, our video sponsor eTrailer has you covered. Best of all, you'll find over 100 US-based enthusiast customer service reps ready to help via phone, chat, or email, both before and after the sale. These folks have used themselves the products that you're shopping for, and you won't find a more knowledgeable team anywhere to help you with your outdoor project. Click the link down below in the video description to shop eTrailer.com with Grand Adventure. Near milepost 287, we arrive at the site of Pharr Mounds, the largest and most important archaeological site in northern Mississippi. Here, 8 large dome-shaped burial mounds are scattered over an area covering 90 acres, built and used about 1800 to 2000 years ago. A vast trading network stretched from here to the shores of Lake Ontario, and objects made of copper, mica, greenstone, and shell found their way to Pharr Mounds. People from local villages came here to obtain exotic goods. The mounds became the cornerstones of civic and religious ceremonies and rituals. A few miles further down the trace, we've arrived at a spot with a more recent history. Much of the old trace, which runs parallel and adjacent to the modern parkway, had been abandoned by the start of the Civil War, but the war did leave its mark. A 5-minute walk on the old trace here takes you to the gravesites of 13 unknown Confederate soldiers. No one is sure how they died, and time had erased their names from their original headstones. The Parkway Visitor Center is just north of Tupelo, Mississippi at milepost 266. Here, one can learn more about the original Natchez Trace and the Paleo Indians and Archaic Indians who first created it, as well as the Chickasaw, Choctaw, and European settlers who continued to use it. Before we pull off the trace at Tupelo for a well-deserved rest, we'll stop at one more site. A Chickasaw fort and village once stood here near milepost 262 in the 1700s. During the summer, the Chickasaw lived in rectangular, well-ventilated houses. In the winter, they lived in round houses with plaster walls. In times of danger, everyone sought shelter in strongly fortified stockades. Original foundations of 4 of these structures remain here. After ceding the last of their ancestral lands to the United States, the Chickasaw were forcibly relocated to Oklahoma from 1837 to 1847, along what's known as the Trail of Tears. We're pulling off the trace to spend a couple of nights just outside of Tupelo and barely off the Natchez Trace at Trace State Park, where pioneer Davy Crockett once lived as a horse trader among the Chickasaw Indians. The park offers 76 RV campsites, 16 primitive campsites, 5 cabins, and 3 cottages. Our waterfront 30-amp full hookup campsite number 17 is costing us $32 per night. Outdoor recreation available within the park includes disc golf, non-motorized and motorized trails, an 18-hole golf course, water skiing, and fishing on Trace Lake. Of course, the one time I need my full 150-foot Starlink cable, the cable dies. While we camp for a couple of nights, following a quick ad break, we'll explore Tupelo, Civil War battlefields, and more, so stay tuned. There's also much to see in the Tupelo area off the trace. Just north of Tupelo is a slice of Civil War history at Brices Crossroads National Battlefield Site, an excellent example of winning the battle but losing the war. The Confederate victory at Brices Crossroads was a significant victory for Major General Nathan Bedford Forrest, but its long-term effect on the war proved costly for the Confederates. Visitors can learn about the scope and impact of this battle that resulted in more than 3,000 casualties by going on a battlefield driving tour. Tiny by comparison, Tupelo National Battlefield occupies only about half a city block right in town. In July 1864, Union forces marched into Tupelo, Mississippi. Disorganized Confederate soldiers fought fiercely, but could not overpower the Federal troops. Neither side could claim a clear victory, but Union troops had succeeded in their main goal, keeping the Confederates away from Union railroads in Tennessee. Founded in 1860, Tupelo today is the 7th most populous city in Mississippi and is considered a commercial, industrial, and cultural hub of northern Mississippi. Following electrification in 1934, Tupelo boomed as a regional manufacturing and distribution center and was once considered a hub of the American furniture manufacturing industry. Although many of Tupelo's manufacturing industries have declined since the 1990s, the city has continued to grow due to strong healthcare, retail, and financial service industries. It was the site of the last known bank robbery by Machine Gun Kelly. A tornado in 1936 leveled 48 city blocks and over 200 homes, killing 216 people and injuring more than 700. But the city's downtown core has been thoughtfully preserved. The Downtown Tupelo Main Street Association was the winner of the National Great American Main Street Award in 2020. I find it curious that I'm spotting many memorials to fallen Confederate soldiers throughout this part of northern Mississippi, but I haven't seen a single one commemorating Union troops. Tupelo has a deep connection to Mississippi's music history and is perhaps best known as the birthplace of Elvis Presley. The town holds great pride for this distinction. The Elvis Presley birthplace in Tupelo is listed on the Mississippi Blues Trail. In addition to a museum, chapel, and the Assembly of God church building where the Presley family worshiped, it includes Presley's Shotgun House birthplace. Elvis's parents, Vernon and Gladys, experienced financial hardship and had to move from the home when Elvis was a few years old for lack of payment. Vernon and Gladys worked various jobs while in Tupelo and moved several times during the 13 years they resided in Mississippi. We're going to go finish packing up and get ready to hit the road for part 3 of our episode on the Natchez Trace Parkway, where we're going to push down through Jackson, Mississippi, all the way to Natchez on the Mississippi River. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you share the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. But understand, it is extremely important to us that if you like this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comment section where we love to hear from you every week. So until next Wednesday, back on the Natchez Trace, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. And we'll see you then.